Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets has been charged with, let me see what they've charged him with. I'm just scrolling through this Fox News article. Let's see, what did they charge him with? Okay, so they charged him with 3 felony domestic violence counts. That's what it says in this article. So he was charged with 3 felony domestic violence counts. I don't know the consequences of this, if he'll serve jail time. I'm guessing if he gets convicted of it, he will. I don't know the legal repercussions of this, but obviously this is pretty bad that now he's been officially charged. What what does this have to do with the Hornets? I would say, well, the obvious is that it's a huge loss for them. It's a huge loss for them in the sense that they lost a player who was a borderline all-star player, a guy you could say was, a fringe all-star. When I say fringe, a guy who could probably get into an all-star game once in a while, depending on how great of a season he has, or if it's a down year, as I would say. It's a pretty big loss for the Hornets, and I say it's a loss because the Hornets will not resign him now. Any little chance of him being resigned by them has just been flushed down the toilet. There's no way the Hornets will sign him, and I don't see any other team in the league signing him this year just because of the backlash they would get from the media, fans, and social media. Just no team wants to be dealing with all that backlash, and especially now with all the stigmas you deal with being a person who beat up a woman, just a domestic abuser. Just no team wants to be associated with those negative stigmas, and I'm not saying those stigmas are wrong because obviously if you get charged with domestic abuse, it's just a terrible look on your character. So I definitely understand why teams don't want to pick him up. They just don't want to deal with all that backlash. Do I think Miles Bridges could be back in the league? Yeah, I think he will eventually get back in the league, but I don't think he'll be this year. Probably after this year, some team will sign him. I'm sure some team will because there'll be some time that's passed by and it'll just blow over, as they would say. So I think he'll be back, but it affects the Hornets in a huge way. I just looked at his numbers. Just he's a 20-point scorer. He averaged 20.2 points a game on 49% overall from the field. He averaged 7 rebounds, which is pretty good at his position. 3.8 assists, close to a steal a game, close to a block a game. So all around, he was a very good player. To lose that type of player, that's a huge loss, and it's not easy to replace that type of player. I don't know who the Hornets could replace him with, but it has huge effects on their season. Like it's gonna affect their abilities just to take that next step, which is being a playoff team. I know that they had huge goals this year heading into the season of being a playoff team, and it was a realistic goal because they had won 43 games last year. They had barely missed going to the playoffs. I believe they lost the play-in game. It was very close. They could have gotten in had they won a few more games. So they seemed like a team that was bound for the playoffs. You look at their team. LaMelo averaged 19 points last year, and they had Terry Rozier who averaged. Actually, I was wrong. LaMelo averaged 20 points a game last year, and Terry Rozier averaged 19. So they had a good trio in LaMelo, Terry, and Miles. And to lose Miles is a huge blow to their franchise. And I'm gonna even be bold here. I guess it's not being bold, but unless LaMelo has a MVP type of season, and I guess I'll be fair. Unless he has a superstar type of year where he takes the next leap to become a superstar, this team is not going to the playoffs. They have too big of a hole to replace after losing Miles. That Lamelo would have to step up tenfold and be like a Doncic type of player. Not saying that he couldn't become that, but I'm not sure if he's ready to take that leap yet. It could take him another year or two before he makes that jump. So this is a really big loss, and I think it could cause the Hornets to make some bad moves. It could have that type of repercussion for them in the sense that they might even take on Russell Westbrook in a three-way trade, with the Lakers. I could see that possibly happening because Jordan is desperate to get into the playoffs, and Jordan is an irrational guy. He can make really bad decisions in a quick split second. He's kind of like he's I'm gonna say he has like a gambler's mindset. He doesn't really think about the negative consequences of his moves, and it's been shown throughout the years as an owner, a GM. He's just very quick to make a move, and it's not always a good move as we have seen. So I think this is bad news for Hornets. You gotta be worried that Mike might make a dumb trade now to overcome this void. I think that would be the biggest concern if I'm a Hornets fan. That he could do something really stupid, make a dumb trade. And outside of making a trade, it just doesn't look good for the Hornets. Like I said, LaMelo would have to make a jump to be a superstar, and I don't know if he can do that yet. But I have the Hornets missing the playoffs now simply because of what Miles Bridges did. He sabotaged their upcoming season, and it sucks for Hornet fans. They'll probably have to wait another year or two before they can become a playoff team again. So just it's terrible for the fans of the Hornets, and just terrible for the Hornets organization. They lost a very good player due to his selfish actions in the sense that he threw away his career. I wouldn't say he threw it away, but he really derailed his career just off of acting irrational for just for that one night. Just that one night pretty much cost him a lot of money, cost his team a chance to be successful, and cost his fans joy of an upcoming season. So that's the way I look at all this.